Welcome back to 33 Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Michael Abney, and today I'm joined by Shani, the founder of Refuel Movement and founder of Lives Without Knives. Shani, welcome to the pod today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Holding my energy as I do the pods on Thursdays, and
hmm
I always make it a point that I really want to be clear. That's why I don't have anything else going on in these days and be present for these amazing conversations that I get to have with people like you all over the world. So thank you again for
hmm
being here. Your through line has always been awareness. Huge fan of that. How we eat, how we move, and how we choose. And what struck me is just not the activism, it's your emphasis on these small, doable shifts instead of the extreme. So let's begin the conversation, as I always do, with what transformation are you in the middle of right now?
Firstly, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I really appreciate it and super excited to be on this podcast today. And the transformation I'm in the middle of is co-founding Refuel Movement. We are an early stage startup where we essentially work with studios to sell their empty spots. So dynamically pricing prices. So, for example, there's a yoga studio with, let's say, 30 spots and only 15 are filled up, or Pilates or boxing. We work to kind of get consumers to come on the remaining 15 through lowered prices throughout the day, whether that is maybe 24 hours before, we'll sell it for 50% off. Maybe 6 hours before, we'll sell it for 75% off. And so we're building Refuel Movement right now. We have 3 active studio partners, but we recently launched. I guess the transformation I'm in the middle of is navigating from early execution of the Refuel Movement to actually building a user base, making sure our studio partners are happy, and of course, making sure our community is happy and able to access these conscious, desirable choices that we want to make more accessible to everyone.
I love the spin that you're putting on that because they're going to be sitting empty anyway. And
hmm
it's like I had somebody on today that was reminding me about game. He designed games, and it's like when you were saying that, it's like, oh, you're turning that into a game and making it fun, but it's
hmm
causing engagement, which is so needed with just people in life. I found like with social media and the way we communicate, a lot of people are disengaged right now, and this sounds like a really awesome way to keep people engaged because they can follow along, right? The
hmm
closer it gets, the little bit cheaper it gets. So it's just
Exactly.
an opportunity to create that where that's not happening before. So where did you get the idea for this?
So the idea was I was actually at a Lives Without Knives is another social enterprise where we connect conscious and vegan brands to untapped markets. So we worked with over 150 conscious brands, bringing them to our own Lives Without Knives festivals where we essentially inspire people to adopt these conscious choices through having this broad community. So our festivals will have 50 vendors giving out free samples, vegan food, lifestyle brands, speakers, networking opportunities, live music, all sorts of things. And so I've been hosting these festivals for the past 4 years, different markets as well, selling our vegan starter kits as well. And so me and my co-founder, Katie for Refuel, were at one of these Lives Without Knives events where we were essentially this event was a little bit different. So what we also do is we connect these vegan brands to other events that are happening and essentially amplify their voices. So here we were at another Clean Living magazine event where Lives Out Knives had brought in all their vendors to come in and exhibit their products. So my friend Katie, who now became my co-founder at Refuel, were at this event and we were realizing this event has a lot of empty spaces. And it was a fitness fueled event. And we thought, wow, this is really sad. I mean, one, this business could be making so much more by having more people at this event. And at the same time, there are so many consumers who would love to be at opportunities like these, but just can't afford it. And so we thought, why not we create a model where we can sell these empty spots at events, at wellness studios, at fitness studios at lowered prices for consumers. So it's a win-win because these studios recover this lost revenue
Yeah.
and these consumers get access to these choices, to these platforms that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. And that's where we started it from. And then we began our market research, talked to studios if it's a viable model. And everyone we talked to was like, this is exactly what we need. I have been having difficulties with keeping my finances afloat. I have been needing more people to come in, and this is the best way to get in more marketing, to get in people to come and really fill up their classes.
It's genius. It's literally genius. And you're seeing these two niche little gaps in the market that are connected to your obvious mission that's in every word that you're speaking, and it's like
Mhm.
connected. Most people would think having two different things would be disconnected and disruptive, in building, but for you, they're one and the same, right?
Exactly,
They're
yes.
just two different aspects. So fascinating, genius that you have figured that out at such like where you're at in life. Question though, it seems like you're so clear about this. Did anything shift for you when you like from when you saw the need and you started to build? Was there anything that you noticed that you had to let go of or to maintain your clarity? Was there anything that you noticed in your way as you were building this out?
I would say something that was in our way was maybe rigidness of how we wanted this to play out. And we came in, like most entrepreneurs do, with a certain plan and milestones and timeline of we want to hit XYZ by this month, or we want to have this many users by this month, or we wanted to start off at UCLA. Since I'm still a student at UCLA, we wanted to make our target user base UCLA students to begin with for Refuel. But we soon realized that, let's say there's a 5 p.m. boxing class that is selling for just $10 instead of $30. Now, even if it's $10 versus 30, if a student has a class that day at school or has a midterm the next day, they won't be able to come no matter how cheap it is. And so I would say something we had to let go of was our assumptions of what we thought would work. And we had these assumptions that surely if a class is priced this cheap, we'll have tons of people coming in. They'll be fighting for it. But we didn't realize that people have other gaps in their schedule that could be another reason for why they're not coming to these classes, for example. So that kind of caused us to pivot our strategy, broaden our target market to other people, whether it's women in their 20s, whether it's even men in their late 20s, 30s,
Oh,
and target different timings and really pivot our strategy to make sure that we aren't just relying on the specific assumption that we had when we started.
okay, even more brilliant. And I bet that was kind of easy for you because you just knew what piece of the puzzle to move, right?
Exactly.
That did that fit. Okay, because your vision was so clear at the beginning.
hmm
Okay, so that's a lot. I love it. You're inspiring me. I want to know like where the hell this came from. Like, what about your upbringing and your life path that led you from India to into LA, being in UCLA and doing all of the studies and everything you're doing there. What about that upbringing and your understanding that gave you that understanding of like there's obvious compassion that I sense from you. It's
hmm
beyond just a mission. You're compassionate about it, and this concept of choice. I got to tell you, like that's unique
hmm
that you've niched that into your marketing because it's the hardest part for people to get about any sort of transformation because I've been in the transformation space for 35 years. It is not in the context that you're in, but like in somebody looking at a breakthrough that they've got to have because they're in such a breakdown. That's
hmm
the hardest part is getting them to see that it's going to be in bite sizes as you get out of this. Like what made you awake to that you brought that as part of your plan? Where did that come
Yeah,
from?
I would say it boils down to my value system, which very much grew as I was growing older. So when I was young, and still my parents are very strong Jains, which is a religion based on nonviolence and compassion towards all living beings. And so I was raised very much as a Jain. And yes, as all religions are, it's based on like temple practices and rituals and things. But more than that, Jainism for me was a way to live my life and a philosophy where it's about compassion towards all living beings, whether no matter what they do, it's about gratitude, forgiveness, and really kind of being the best version of yourself when you can. And I would say it was those values that inspired me to found Lives Without Knives at 14, first of all, where I was so passionate about this vegan, plant based, conscious life where you should be conscious, yes, for your own health and the environment and things, but the ideology that animals aren't for us to consume, but animals should be our partners, our friends, and they deserve to live as much as anyone else does. It was from that value system and ideology that my passion for Lives Without Knives sparked, and my passion for helping these conscious plant based vendors, these businesses that are so often buried under these big names, these corporates, but they deserve to get this business as just as much because they're selling these amazing mission driven vegan products that I believed so heavily in. And that's where I started Lives Without Knives because I saw how much I cared about these products, about veganism as an ideology. And I saw those that were actively pushing for it, these businesses and brands were struggling under these big names. And so I wanted to create this movement, this community, this platform, these markets and festivals that brings together these vendors together. So our community can see how fun it can be to be vegan, how desirable it can be to even try one vegan choice or even support one vegan brand and put a smile on this vegan founder's face instead of supporting the next corporate CEO's Ferrari. Um, and so that's kind of where my value
Yeah.
system for veganism started. And from there, I also had a lot of health issues growing up and very deep hormonal imbalance issues. And a lot of that was solved through kind of lifestyle factors. I went to over 17 different doctors, tried all sorts of medicines, and nothing really clicked until I met a lifestyle doctor that, for the first time, instead of asking me about my direct symptoms, she asked me about me as a person and my lifestyle, my routine. And essentially, I made all these drastic lifestyle changes, whether that was eating 80/20 whole foods plant based diet, whether that was making sure movement is an everyday part of my life. Sleep is number one priority over anything ever, and living a stress free, happy life. And all these factors were what healed me. And that's where I even increased my passion and built upon my passion for conscious living because it moved from just being about veganism and my diet, from just the way I live my life in every pillar, whether that's movement, whether that's my diet, whether that's the way I perceive my relationships, my friendships, my connections. And that's where this entire philosophy really started for me and became more than just lives out knives and veganism, more into how can I bring this philosophy into all different pillars of my life and refuel connected to the movement aspect. Lives out knives is about the diet aspect and just the way I live my life. I hope to encapsulate all these pillars.
And you are. Yeah. Wow. I'm fascinated by the festivals because I live in the Midwest. I am
Mhm.
unaware of these festivals for just as a side note, just for my own interests. Like where would somebody find these festivals about veganism? And I know the festivals that we have here. One of my favorite festivals in the world is here by a park that I live by. And it's the Festival
Mhm.
of Nations, and it's just every year in August, all of these people from all over the place have all of these different types of foods, and they celebrate dance and their culture. It's one of the most amazing things I think St. Louis has to offer, and that's in my head. It's
Mhm.
the only thing I could compare it to. I wonder if you can give me a reference that I can put a context around that.
For sure. So let me paint an image of someone walking in through one of the Lives Out Knives festivals. So you would register, and of course, you're greeted by all these happy people. That's one of my biggest things, that everyone has to be smiling and happy. And I think that any philosophy is only really spread if it's done in a happy way. I don't want to force anything upon someone or feel like I'm suffocating them, but instead I want to broaden their perspectives and choices. So you're greeted at the Lives Out Knives Festival, you get your wristband, you get some free goodies at the registration booth, you get some pamphlets if you want, and then you're guided through this experience of a festival where we have on our right side all our food vendors. So we have like a vegan Chinese vendor, we had even different cuisines like African food, we had American food, we had feel good comfort food, all these different sorts of food that are offering free samples as well, so that even if you don't want to commit to buying something yet, you can just try it. And most of the times, my friends would be like, "Oh my God, are you sure this is vegan?" Like, "Oh my God, I did not know vegan mac and cheese could taste so good." So the point was to broaden people's perspectives of how good veganism could taste and shy away from the fact that it's just grass and leaves, but there's actually a lot of beauty in vegan cooking. And then as you make your
Mhm.
way through, there is a little section where we have speakers coming in at every hour. Last festival, we had 12 speakers over the day talking about different topics. So we had one pillar focused on
Oh.
sustainability and veganism, one was health and veganism, one was the environment and veganism, one was animal cruelty and veganism. And we brought in all these different perspectives to educate people on really how veganism is really intersectional and connects with all these different parts of our lives, that connects to everyone and isn't just something that is like an environmentalist issue or a conscious health person's issue, but it's something that everyone should be looking at in the way that they live their lives. Um, and then as you walk through, we have live music, we have a DJ booth, and some people are dancing,
Okay.
maybe some people are just enjoying the music and living that life. And then we have some interactive booths. We have some different experiences. For example, we had Nature's Wild Berry come in last year, which was a Shark Tank winner of this berry that is called the Miracle Berry. And it's completely
Yeah.
natural. And if you have it before anything sour, it will taste sweet to you. So if you have this berry and then I have a lemon, it will taste like an orange to me. And so we had these miracle berry booths, we had these interactive experiences, we had things like face painting, even. We had little fitness challenges going on, we had food trucks, and that's kind of the vibe of this festival where it's not limited to just food or some sort of
Yeah.
lifestyle brand or just skincare, but it's really showing veganism as a philosophy that infiltrates every part of our life. And more than that, it's not forcing you to come to this festival and do anything, or you don't have to be vegan or anything, but you just are, you all you have to do is come with an open mind and see what we
Yeah.
can offer you.
I love it. And thank you for painting that picture. I feel like I experienced it. You're really wonderful at that. Thank you.
I'm glad
What
to
have you
hear that.
personally noticed about energy and clarity through your journey as being plant forward living?
I would say that it has been drastically improving my health, of course, but more than that, like you said, my mental clarity has also increased a lot because one, of course, the physical side, dairy can be heavy to consume and all of that. But more than that, I think it's going to sleep knowing that I'm doing my best not to harm other living beings in this world, that I'm doing my best to be as compassionate as I can towards, yes, humans and my friends and my family and strangers, but also to everyone else and everything else this earth has, whether that's the environment, whether that's Mother Nature, whether that's these animals. I think that definitely is a massive energy shift where I'm looking at my body as a garden and not as a grave for these dead animals. I think that really, really helps you to live a life that's not just for yourself and what leads to all these midlife crises because you realize what's the point of life because I'm just living my selfish life. But if you really live for the greater good or you think about what impact you're having, what choices, the impact of your choices on other people, on those around you, I think just from that, you wake up with a clearer sense of purpose. You wake up happier, clearer, and just with a lot more mental clarity than you would have if you're just living for yourself.
From your perspective, how does movement act as like a real time feedback mechanism for our mental clarity? Since you brought that up, just for the, I used to be active, like I am like when you work behind a desk and you're doing podcasts and I'm on calls a lot more now than I ever was before. It's something I've got to think about, but it's also something that kind of lives on the back burner for
Mhm.
me. Like, how does movement for you, from your perspective, can be a feedback mechanism for us?
I would say that, of course, I think everyone knows the physical benefits of it for your body, the endorphins, the hormones, everything. That's a great side. Everyone knows that. But more than that, I think moving your body every day makes you so much more grateful for what you have. Realizing that, every day I wake up with a healthy body, with these legs that can help me walk, with these arms that like lift these weights. I am very lucky, and this is not a privilege that everyone has in their lives. So I think moving makes me a lot more grateful for what I have in my life and realizing that it's the simple things like a healthy body that is one of the most important things you can have. And many, many times we as humans kind of just forget about it or brush upon it or think about what we don't have. But I think having a healthy human body is something that should be celebrated. And every time you can work out and movement, that is a great thing and that is a blessing in itself. And secondly, I think it reminds you of how much you can kind of go through or how much hardship you can do because every time I maybe think like, oh, I've reached my peak or I'm tired or I can't go farther than this, but maybe I'll go to the gym or go for a run and I run an extra mile this time or I lifted an extra heavy weight and I realized, oh, like I always have potential to grow and I am proud of myself for pushing myself and being able to do this. And I think that philosophy in the gym or in my run translates to me day to day because then in my career, I feel like, okay, I can do anything I put my mind to. If I want to run an extra mile, I can do that. And that means if I want to do this extra thing in my career, apply for this extra thing, who's stopping me? And so I think it really builds your mindset as well, where as you're pushing yourself physically, you have the confidence and the inspiration to push yourself in every other part of your life, whether mentally, whether professionally, whether emotionally. And so I think those two are one of the biggest benefits for working out. And of course, the physical benefits just go without saying.
They do, but you answered what I was actually, I wanted that, what you just said.
Mhm.
Because we all know about the movement. That doesn't stop us or start us from doing it. But that was a powerful insight that you just shared about just adding one little thing. This whole concept of like these little bite-sized things. Like I can even do that in between pods if I could do something in between a pod. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
just opening the door to like how powerful it is these sustainable habits like are in our lives or getting them to be sustainable habits by looking at it from a smaller perspective, not as this huge thing that we've got to go do. So
Mhm.
thank you for bringing that. But where do you think that where did it come from for you that you learned that? And where did it emerge from? Because most people, when you think about that, it occurs like a pressure, something that
Mhm.
I've got to do. And for
Mhm.
you, you've got the smile, you've got the energy that's exuding, like it's almost like a cheerleader. Like you're making me believe about the sustainability of it and how to put that into market. That's a unique skill set. Where did that come from?
I would say for me, that came from my personal health challenges, where for 7 years, because of my issues, I was unable to work out. I was unable to do anything physical. I didn't do PE in school for 7 years. I had a lift pass, like an
Okay.
elevator pass for the whole time. Or I never went on a hike until I was 20 years old in California. So I think that kind of really sparked a shift where when people were dreading going to PE in class, in school, I was like, "Oh, I really wish I could," or like, I
Could.
felt
Okay.
really suffocated maybe, or like just stifled sitting on the sidelines and having to watch. And so when my health finally recovered and healed, it became this massive blessing of every day I can use my body, and every day that I have the ability to do this, I am just so grateful. And this isn't a chore or a task, but this makes me so happy that I don't have to be on bed rest anymore and I can use my body, and I don't want to wait until it doesn't work again to feel grateful for this, but I want to make sure that every day
Yeah.
I have a healthy body, I use it to the maximum.
Well, I'm sorry you went through the experience as you were growing up, but I'm grateful that you did because of what you're providing to all of us. And when we
Mhm.
listen, and I'm sure everyone in your ecosystem knows that as well and is affected by it because it's contagious. What's
Mhm.
just one small thing that you did today as an example about how you shifted your day?
One small thing I did is I started my day off with a little bit of breathing, a little bit of meditation, and I always make sure that my breakfast is very healthy and nutrition giving. I try to avoid empty calories when I can. And so, one thing that I did that made me really happy was having a very healthy breakfast with almond milk, flax seeds, chia seeds, dates, nut butter, and really having fun with it, where it doesn't have to be like I'm gulping it down my throat because it's healthy, but I'm putting in the nut butters that I really enjoy, or cinnamon or dates, and making it yummy, going to the farmer's market and getting these from vendors that I really believe in and support. So that made me really happy. And I think that gives me a lot of fuel and energy where I don't rely on external supplements or anything to get my energy from. But I really like to look at food as a way of medicine and as my pure energetic source.
Perfect. Like, so picture yourself before this whole thing started, right? Maybe not at 14, but like where you're at right now with, yeah, this last, as you begin these founding these last things, like the refuel movement,
Mhm.
like, and now having clients and it working and it's in a flow. What are you clearer on about yourself now than you were then?
I think something I'm clear about is how passionate I am about it. I think when it's just in your mind, you don't realize how much you truly care about these conscious vendors, or in Refuel, how much I care
Hmm.
about these studios, or how much I care about my friends
Yeah.
and community doing all these things. And it's just a thought in my mind of something. But the more I
Yeah.
actively work on this, the more I actively meet the people benefiting from my philosophies of living, or even the friends I inspire along the way to do more fitness classes, to try out different diets that work better for them, for their health, or even the studios that I help recover these spots, or the vendors and
Hmm.
brands I bring more business to. I think the happiness I get from seeing them thrive makes me realize this is what I want to dedicate my life to, and that I'm on the right path. And this isn't just a hobby
Yeah.
for me or a side project for like my college applications back then, or for college or anything.
No.
There's no ulterior motive behind it. There's no kind of I'm getting this status or this power or this from it, but I realize how pure my intentions are in this space. And I genuinely just, when I see those people I care about smile, that's all I need.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I built my container, my offer and what I wanted to give back for. And then the podcast kicked. And then when it was the podcast kicked and started to kick in, that's when I had the same realization. That's really what
Mhm.
my passion was. It kicked in when I was in the doing of the thing, not creating
Exactly.
the thing. And I think that's a really powerful insight to share with people that are building something meaningful in the world, which is the focus of everything that we do here at 33 Conversations, is the
Mhm.
realizing that it's not the thing, it's us in action with the thing and the journey of the thing that causes the thing to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think so many people think that you have to have this established passion for something to start, but
Yeah.
sometimes that can be true, but a lot of the times that passion will just grow as you work on it and it comes with time. It's not something that you need to have as a foundation to begin with, but even if you have that slight fuel inside of you or that slight fire, if you work on it in the way that feels pure to you, then there's
Yeah.
no doubt that passion will grow.
Okay. I'm sold. Absolutely amazing conversation having this with you today is really awesome and yeah, I'm really grateful to have it with you. It's really cool. I love your clarity. It's infectious.
Thank
But
you.
are you ready for your
Likewise.
closing question?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If somebody's listening to us today and feels overwhelmed by all the noise about health and productivity, what's one conscious choice that they could make this week that feels doable?
I would say try a plant-based choice. That is something I believe deeply in, and I think that that is something that really, really can help someone. So start off with just one plant-based dinner or lunch or something, and see how that shifts maybe your energy levels, how that shifts how your body digests food, how that shifts your mental clarity, how that shifts the way you operate in the world with a mind of compassion towards not just yourself, but everyone around you. I think that is really
Hmm.
important and like kind of building on what you said about someone feeling overwhelmed with how much there is. I think yes, like nowadays health and wellness is growing, but at the same time, no one knows what health really means anymore because there's constantly these conflicting opinions on how to live your life, how you should move, what you should eat. And so
Yeah.
I think to answer that broader question, I think listen to your body and think of it as just testing different things out, seeing what feels right to you. For some people, maybe weightlifting is the way they want to move. Some people might prefer hiking. Some people might prefer Pilates. And there
Yeah.
is no right or wrong here. And it's really about listening to your body about what food it likes. And if you just take a second to breathe and see, your body has all the answers. If you just take a second to try
Does.
different foods throughout the week and seeing, oh, this made me feel lighter, or this made me feel more energetic,
Yeah.
or oh, this exercise actually was a lot better for me than this. And like, sure, maybe weightlifting is getting you your gains stronger or faster, but maybe I prefer going to run clubs with my friends and that's the way I like to move. And that's completely okay. But you should make sure that health and wellness doesn't feel like a chore to you, but something that can be easily integrated into daily life and feels fun and feels like a breather from the stresses of your life and not an additional stress.
Yes.
That's how it
Yes.
should be.
Yes. Absolutely. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much for reminding us that just simple awareness doesn't have to be loud or rigid or in your face. It really can be just be these small, steady steps. And then we can
Mhm.
smile and they can be fun. Thank you
Remember
so
to smile,
much.
whatever you're doing. That's the most important thing. If you're not smiling while you're being healthy, you're doing it wrong.
Check. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just letting everybody know that 33 Conversations does exist to explore what's becomes possible when we slow down and we choose differently. We stop to listen to people like you. So I appreciate it. And for you guys listening out there, maybe look at transformation a little bit differently. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe it's just one conscious choice at a time. And maybe today is the day that you make this your new thing. Maybe today is the day you start your next chapter. Maybe today is the day you start a new conversation with yourself. There's no wrong answer here. Just one conscious choice. Just go out and make it because we're going to see
Mhm.
you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.